Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'll be talking about the Hagia Sophia. As you know, recently the Turkish government decided that the Hagia Sophia will be reverted into a masjid. Reverted because before it was a museum, it was already a masjid, and now it's being turned into a masjid again. Because of this, a lot of countries such as Greece, America, and Russia are having an outcry about it, and they are complaining about how this is the wrong decision and it is a mistake and how it will cause collisions between countries. Not only this, but they are also digging up lies about how the Hagia Sophia was conquered. Now, the Hagia Sophia, the building itself, it was never conquered. The land it is built upon, which is now modern-day Istanbul, was back then called Constantinople. The man Sultan Mehmed II, he conquered the land Constantinople. It was very normal for sultans and governors and kings to go to different lands and cities and to take them and to claim it theirs and to conquer them. The sultan, he did this with Constantinople, and when he did, it was a majority Christian city. So when he conquered it, he did not purposefully break down any churches. He allowed the Christians to practice their religion in peace. However, as time passed, many Christians converted to Muslims, and Constantinople was now a majority Muslim city. This was when the Sultan realized that the Hagia Sophia would be the perfect place for a masjid. Because the Hagia Sophia was a church, he went to the bishop of Hagia Sophia and he made an offer. The bishop, he accepted the offer, and so the Sultan, he bought the Hagia Sophia with his own personal wealth and his own money. What seems to surprise the West is that one place of worship can be bought peacefully and that it can be turned into another place of worship. It surprises them because for them, their norm is to take things brutally and by force and to demolish things and do whatever they want. Various examples of this can be seen in places like Greece and Spain. For example, in Greece, there are hardly any masjids left because they have all been demolished. And you can see this in Spain as well. Many of their churches, their huge churches, they were masjids before. You can just look at the design because many of the designs are Islamic art, or if you just look at the shape of the window, you can tell that they were masjids before. However, the Hagia Sophia, it was fairly bought and it was legally bought. So the purchase of the Hagia Sophia was done 800 years ago, and it still happens today. If you come to England, if you come to London in Stratford where the Olympic Games took place, there's actually a road here called Marjorie Park Road. On that road there is a masjid. This masjid was a very famous church. However, the Muslims, they bought it, and not only is it a masjid, but it is also a girls' school, an Islamic girls' school. So, on one hand, you have people purchasing things legally and fairly and justly, while on the other hand, you have people taking things wrongfully and unfairly and taking things by force. So, when someone takes things correctly, when someone takes things correctly, everybody has to speak up about it. But when someone takes things wrongfully, everyone keeps their mouths shut. This is still happening present day. You can literally see in Masjid al-Aqsa how it was seized from the Muslims and how their rights have been taken away. Now, I'd like to come to the point of how the Hagia Sophia, it was changed from a museum, a masjid, to a museum. The man who did this, he was the Turkish president. His name was Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. What he did, turning the masjid into a museum, this was a completely illegal action. Surprising here is nobody said anything then. Nobody said, oh, what you're doing is wrong. You can go to the archives and you can see in the Sultan's will, in his deed, he has written that the Hagia Sophia, it will be bequeathed to the Muslims so that all the Muslims of the world can come and pray here. Now, not only this, but his grandchildren and his great-grandchildren took a lot of care of it, and they added a lot of architecture and they made sure it was presentable. This is clear proof that he left it for the Muslims. It was not so that somebody could turn it into a museum. It was so that Muslims could go and pray Salah there. The Turkish government, what they have done now is they have established justice and they have reverted it back to what it was supposed to be originally. They have done an amazing job and the justice for Muslims has been served. In conclusion, the Hagia Sophia, it was the personal property of a philanthropist, Mehmet II, and it was wrongfully taken by the President of Turkey, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, and it was turned into a completely secular thing. So I'd just like to end this by saying that just how the Hagia Sophia, it was a beautiful masjid and it was taken wrongfully and turned into something completely non-Islamic and completely secular. Just like this, our hearts and our souls are captivated by devilish sources. What we need to do is keep aware and always make sure our iman is strong. May Allah give us the tawfiq and strength to turn our iman into something as beautiful as the Hagia Sophia. Jazakallahu khairan.